Now a Jewish lawyer, wanting to test Jesus, wanting to trip him up, asked him, "Sir, what shall I do to inherit eternal life?" And Jesus answered, "Well, what does the law tell you?" And so the Jewish lawyer said, "Well, it says you have to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and all thy mind, and all thy strength, and all thy soul. And you have to love your neighbor as yourself." And Jesus said, "Well, that's right. Do that, and you shall inherit eternal life." And then the lawyer, still wanting to trick Jesus, asked him what is really a very important question, a very legitimate question. He said, "Well, who is my neighbor?" So, at that point, Jesus proceeds to tell him a story meant to illustrate who is our neighbor. He tells him the story of a businessman who sets out on a journey by himself. Now, that wasn't a very smart thing to do in that day and age. There were all kinds of road bandits hiding behind rocks and bushes, ready to jump out at some poor unsuspecting traveler who was all by himself and beat him up and rob him. Well, that's exactly what happened to this man. He's walking along, and all of a sudden he's beset by thugs who beat him half to death, steal everything he has, including his clothes, and leave him lying half dead naked at the side of the road. Well, that's not a very good position to be in, is it? How many of us would feel quite distressed to find ourselves that way? We would certainly want a good neighbor to come along and help us. So, here is this poor guy, lying naked, beat half to death at the side of the road, and somebody does come along. Who should it be? Why, it's a priest. A priest is walking along. Surely he's going to help. But he stares down at this naked, beat-up guy and thinks, some bum. How disgusting. Why, I have more important things to do than to be helping bums. And he walks on. Oh, can you imagine how you would feel if you're laying there, your arms stretched out, begging for help, and this happens to you? Some guy just passes you by? Oh, you would feel horrible, right? How sad. So then another man comes walking by, clearly an important person, a member of the higher clergy, like maybe a bishop, that sort of person. He comes walking along, looks down at this guy, beat up, naked, laying there at the side of the road, turns his nose up, turns his head aside, and walks on. Doesn't even say a word, doesn't give a glance, just ignores him and walks past him. Oh my goodness, can you believe this happens? Okay, so you have to remember, our traveling friend who has been beat up, left for dead at the side of the road naked, is a Jew. Now, the Jews do not care for a group of people called Samaritans. The Samaritans don't worship right, they don't wear their hair right, they don't dress right, they probably don't listen to the right kind of music, they probably dance and drink and carry on in a way that the Jews do not approve of, and they simply do not like these people. They don't have anything to do with these people, they talk bad about these people, they stay away from where these people live. The Jews do not like Samaritans. So here is this Jew lying on the road in need of a good neighbor to come along and help him. He's already been passed by two Jews, one a priest, one a member of the upper ruling class, and who should come upon him? This traveling Jew who has been beat up, lying at the side of the road, is probably only semi-conscious at this point, when all of a sudden someone does stop to help him. And someone speaks to him kindly, gently, as they're trying to aid him. And he recognizes the accent, and oh my word, it's a Samaritan. A Samaritan, the people they talk bad about, the people they don't like. This is the one who has stopped to help him. And the Samaritan not only helps him, puts some clothes on him, puts him on the back of his own donkey, takes him to the nearest town, gets the innkeeper to help carry him into a bed, and then tells the innkeeper, "Here's some money, take care of him, I'll be back in a week or so, and if you spend any more than this, I will pay you for that. Just take care of him." The Samaritan does this for a total stranger that he finds at the side of the road. And this total stranger is a Jew, someone who does not even like Samaritans. Jesus uses this story to define neighbor. The neighbor we are to love as ourselves. What he says is, the Samaritan is your neighbor. This Samaritan whom you do not like, whom you say bad things about, he is your neighbor. This is the one you are supposed to love if you are to fulfill the commandment so that you may have eternal life. So, what he's saying is that you don't just love the people who are part of your group, you don't just love the people you approve of, you love all those who are around you, all those who are in your community, all those who are part of humanity. Those are your neighbors. Those are the ones you are supposed to love. Now, is there some practical way we can apply this to our lives today? Well, yes, I believe there is, especially for people who call themselves Christians. You know, there is a group of people that a lot of Christians don't like. They say they don't live right, they don't do the right things. So, what if I am traveling along the road one day and I get beat up and left half dead by the side of the road, and who comes along to help me? Why, it's a couple of gay guys. A couple of gay guys who would like to get married but are told they can't because that's not the way things are done. And these two gay guys take care of me. They pick me up, they put me in their car, they take me to a clinic, and they even pay for my treatment. These are my neighbors. These are my good neighbors. These are the people I must love if I am going to fulfill the commandment by which I will have eternal life. That is one of the practical things this message that Jesus gives to this teacher of the law is giving to me for my life today. The truth is, the neighbors we are to love are everywhere. They're not just our next door neighbors. They're not just people who live in our neighborhood. They're certainly not just people we go to church with, people we approve of. Our neighbors that we are to love are all around us. We encounter them in the grocery store. We encounter them at the convenience store. We encounter them waiting in line at the bank. We encounter them at baseball games, at football games. We encounter them at festivals and rodeos. The people we encounter are the people we are to love as much as ourselves. If we all do this, then we will really have a great life and a great society. This is how we can have a good life now and forever. Peace.